Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com. SaaS, RaaS, and now NaaS. Meter is here with networking as a service. That's NaaS. To bring fast, secure, reliable internet, networking, and Wi-Fi to your warehouse. With just one monthly rate and no upfront costs, Meter allows you to focus on getting connected and getting moving. No installation or hardware cost, and just one monthly fee allows IT teams to do more with less. And most importantly, warehouses save time on network troubleshooting, avoid expensive downtime, and get an overall happier IT team. Meter is already powering connectivity for companies with millions of square feet, including Stored, GoBolt, Beho, Trove, and more. Why not add your name to that list? Go to meter.com/thenewwarehouse to get your first month free. That's meter.com/thenewwarehouse for your first month free.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. And on today's episode, I am going to be joined by Faizan Sheikh. He is the CEO and co-founder at Avidbots, and Avidbots is focused on robots, automated, but for the cleaning aspect of the warehouse. So we're going to hear a little bit about Avidbots, what it is they do, why the focus on cleaning. I'm interested in that. I think it's a great thing, but I'm curious where that kind of came into play. And a little bit on Faizan's background as well. So Faizan, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, happy to have you on. Definitely happy to learn more about Avidbots. I got a little peek at what you guys were doing at ProMat there a little bit. So definitely interested to dive a little bit deeper. But I'm curious, since you're the co-founder here at Avidbots, I'm curious about your background and what kind of led you up to starting to come up with this concept for Avidbots and ultimately founding the company.
Yeah, sure. So I studied robotics at Canada's top engineering school, along with my co-founder, Pablo. So that's where we met. After we graduated from university, both of us went out and worked in industry. And, after some time, decided to start a robotics company. Initially, when we were starting a robotics company, we were looking at solving the problem of snow cleaning, because we're based in Canada and it's super cold here.
There's a lot of snow.
That's right. And Pablo would have back problems, shoveling a lot of snow. So I think it was like solving his own problem type of thing.
Yeah.
But then we pivoted away from snow cleaning to autonomous cleaning for commercial and industrial spaces pretty quickly after that, because we wanted to go indoors rather than outdoors. Makes the problem more constrained. In some ways. And also, it's a worldwide problem. Snow is not a worldwide problem. It's a Canada problem.
Yeah, that's very true. Interesting. So I'm curious, at what point, because you said you both went into industry first after school, right? At what point were you kind of it's time to do something on our own. It's time to explore something different. What really was kind of that catalyst that pushed you to?
That? Pablo and I have a little bit different track here and how we came up and joined forces. But, when I was in university, I was trying to create a company back then. I was trying to turn my final year design project, which was a stair climbing security robot, into a company. And, sell that robot to police and stuff like that. but my family economic situation didn't allow for me to not have a job and no paycheck.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that then. And so, yeah, for me, the timing was perfect when Pablo actually is the one who called me and talked about joining forces. We were, after we started working in the industry, we were both working in Ottawa together in different companies, but in the same city. So, yeah, I mean, he happened to give me a call and started telling me about this cleaning robot idea, and the rest is history.
Interesting. So, I mean, and then I mean, you kind of said there, I mean, so the switch from the snow cleaning, and I'm sure up there, I mean, you guys could probably do an automated Zamboni as well. The hockey up there is too.
I think somebody's doing that.
I think I did see something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think somebody's also doing automated snow cleaning. At least there's a few people trying. It's pretty hard problem.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, especially because you think about the cold, the extreme cold, and like all the moving parts and mechanical things too. Like, doesn't necessarily always love that kind of atmosphere. So you pivot to cleaning now, and I'm curious as well. I mean, you started with snow cleaning, so I mean, maybe that's kind of the transition there. But on the same regard, I mean, there's all these robotics companies out there trying to address different parts of the operation, industrial space, whether it's moving material, moving pallets, unloading trucks, picking items, all these different things. But why did you seem to kind of hone in on and really pick up on that cleaning aspect of the industrial space? I mean, particularly like in a warehouse setting. I mean, why did that really stick out as a major need for you guys to solve?
I mean, look, it's from an automation perspective, it's low hanging fruit. Not from a technical perspective, like it's actually a very involved technology problem. However, for a customer, let's say a warehouse customer, we're not directly touching boxes, right? And so it's easier to get going and adopt that type of automation, whereas like other types of automation in warehouses requires pretty extensive pilots, like 1 year long pilots, and then because they're trying to validate technologies that are touching the boxes, which we're not. So that's one. And the second one, why are customers interested in automating their cleaning? It's table stakes. You have to clean your warehouse. Actually, a cleaner warehouse is safer for the people who work there, and also improves the productivity and throughput of a warehouse, which is a key KPI for them. So it's also directly related to employee morale. Like, if you can working in a warehouse like full time, it's tough work. So now, on top of that, if your warehouse is like a freaking dump, it creates a more mental burden and strain. So people are trying to at least have a clean place for the people who show up, and make it a bit more attractive.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so important. I mean, as former warehouse manager, now someone has their own fulfillment center. I mean, the cleanliness is so important as well. Like you said, for those aspects, from a safety perspective, a well-being perspective, and just not having stuff all over the place and being organized makes such a difference. And
also, Kevin, just to add here, when most warehouses, when they clean, right, they don't have like a cleaner who shows up. They typically have somebody whose job is to move boxes and pallets, who has to get off their forklift or get out of their regular duties and get on this Zamboni style machine and start cleaning the warehouse. So anytime that happens, they are not affecting the core KPI. So, which is moving boxes and throughput of the efficiency of the warehouse. So automating things that are not moving the needle directly for you, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's interesting too, because, you look at, and, unfortunately, like, you may have somebody that's maybe dedicated, depending on the size of your operation, to cleaning and things like that, or maybe like a shared task. But oftentimes, like, that's the first thing that, like, you're going to look at is like, how do we reduce that, or how do we cut that, right? When like business is slow or something like that, when in reality, it's something that you always need. So it's not something that really you should just like turn off because the money's not there. Like, like you got to figure it out. So, I mean, I think moving towards the automation of that task, at least, and cleaning the floors and the floor scrubbers and things like that, I mean, is really important, because I know I've been in those situations where they're like, the budget needs to be cut, or we lose the person that's cleaning, and then it's like, well, we could take care of the trash and like we'll figure out when to scrub the floors another time or something, right? And then it builds up, and then it just gets worse. It's not a great position to be in, and certainly not a position that you want to be in.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. Stop cleaning your warehouse and watch your attrition spike.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, it's certainly something that I think operationally is a must, as you said. And I've seen some warehouse where, cleanliness is like not top of mind, and it's not like you don't want to be in there. Yeah. Yeah.
It's also, if management, and, luckily we're not seeing management do that. We're seeing management for clients, for Avidbots, choosing to keep the cleaning. Mm-hmm. But if management decides to even consider that type of thing, right? Like, we're going to stop cleaning.
Yeah.
You have to really ask yourself, what message are you sending the employees?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have given up? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's very true, right? I mean, because I think that's the thing, is like people are coming to work, and they're expecting the basic things to be done, like which is cleaning. Like the trash is going to be taken out, the bathroom is going to be clean. It's not going to be a mess in here. Like, I'm not going to feel uncomfortable or anything like that. I think it's super important. So it's great that you guys are addressing one part of that cleaning aspect and automating it, because I think it's something, like you said, it is a low hanging fruit, but it's something that I think like we don't think of right away, or some people don't think of right away, because they're so focused on like getting those boxes in the door and the boxes out the door, basically, right? The shipping aspect. So tell us a little bit about the actual solution, the new Neo 2W that you guys have recently come out with. What's involved in that? How does it work? What does it do? How does it keep us clean? Give us all the details.
Yeah, so Neo 2W is a product that we just launched a couple of weeks back. It's a Neo 2 robot by Avidbots that's optimized for the warehouse as well as industrial settings. So the W stands for warehouse. Oh, okay. So what's different about it than the standard Neo 2? It has something called the debris diverter. Okay. So warehouses have a lot more debris on the floors, owing to the kind of processes that are happening within the warehouse. Yeah. Saran wrap, wood shrapnel from pallets, you name it, cardboard boxes, it's all there on the floor. And that stuff it can kill a scrubbing robot or a manual scrubbing machine, because it can get in the pipes of the vacuum and
clogged up,
completely choke it. Yeah. So when you do that, your machine will start leaving dumps of water, which is a giant safety hazard. So we have been working with clients on this. This was the feedback that kept coming, that how can we make this better? So this is the first thing. The debris diverter is a standard part of the Neo 2W solution. Okay. On the hardware side. But now on the software side, we have done two things. One is advanced obstacle avoidance. So using AI machine learning, we are detecting obstacles on the floor that are specific to warehouses, like pallets, like the tines of forklifts and other material moving equipment. And we're doing that without false positives. So that's, for those who want to think about how hard that problem is, it's quite hard. So we're doing that. And then the second thing is, we're not just cleaning in racking areas. Okay. We're also cleaning in the areas that in the industry terminology, it's called bulk areas. So even without racking, we are able to navigate that environment using an update to our autonomy software that's optimized for cleaning in this type of warehouse environments.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think it's super important, the debris diverter that you touched on, because I know in my experience, even like the last warehouse I was a manager, and I mean, we had a guy and he would, do his, he would have the ride on scrubber, and, all the time, like he was stopping because it was getting, clogged up, and he was pulling out, like you said, the wood from the pallet, I think was the biggest one. He was always kind of running into, or even, it gets stuck like on the squeegee, and then you're like streaking and all these different things. So So it's super important that you've thought of that and applied this to this like warehouse focused model. But I'm curious, when it's diverting that debris, I mean, is that it's still collecting the debris in some way, or is it just kind of leaving it to the side
It's
and
the
then
word.
somebody has got to come pick it up?
It's diverting into the side.
Mm,
So if you want to think about like, okay, what is the improvement here,
yeah.
other than the robots not getting choked? What's the improvement is that before, for either a manual machine, if it's operated by a human being,
Hmm.
or the standard Neo 2 robot, you had to do something called pre-sweeping. You
Right.
had to sweep ahead of the robot as the robot was, or the manual machine was going.
Mm,
And the thing is, it's not like you can pre-sweep and then come back in 2 hours and get to the area and clean it, because in 2 hours there will be a lot more crap again on the floor,
yeah.
which will choke the machine. So now what we're doing is we're saying you don't have to do it pre. You can, we're just going to divert it to the side, and you can do it when it's convenient for the business to do it. So it's still debris that has to be picked up,
Hmm.
but it doesn't have to be picked up in that strict order that existed before.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's interesting, because it's kind of, if you have to do the pre-sweep, it's almost, I mean, it's in a sense almost like eliminating the benefit of the automation, because it's like you still have to have somebody almost in front of it, like doing that thing. So I definitely see the benefit there, and I think that can be something maybe in the future as well. Like there's some kind of automated vacuum that comes along and takes all that debris up. Is that something that maybe you guys are thinking about?
Yeah, we're always thinking about ways
Yeah.
to take the automation to the next level to continuously reduce the amount of human input needed.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think it's such a necessity on that cleaning side as well too, because like we talked about, I mean, it's so hard to, I guess, keep up with that in some cases, especially with labor challenges and things of that nature. I mean, are you seeing, especially at ProMat recently? I'm curious. I mean, are you guys getting a lot of feedback or inquiries, like where people are struggling to keep labor, and they're looking at automating these types of tasks to kind of help combat that?
Yeah, definitely. There's a big labor shortage. People in industrial warehouse spaces, they're having real challenges hiring and then retaining people.
Mm,
And if you're going to give them a bad workplace which is not clean,
yeah.
and the management is sending a message that it's not clean at all and not something we care about, then it's even harder. So people are automating their cleaning because, one, they can't find the labor
Mm,
and retain it, and second, they want to automate their cleaning so that no matter what, the cleaning is getting done and the warehouse doesn't become a dump, so that
right.
the people who are already here start getting depressed and leave.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes a long way for the retention there, as you're mentioning. I mean, I think it's super important to have that comfortable work environment, and I think it's become so much more important, I think, in the past couple of years, since labor has become so scarce, and trying to get into this industry. Whereas I think in the past, like the warehouse was kind of like looked down upon a little bit, like, oh, like they just work in the warehouse, right? And but now it's like it's a good thing, I think, because those workers are getting treated kind of more fairly and equally to like the office employees, and getting those types of kind of amenities and cleanliness and things like that to help keep them there. So, which I think is an important thing. So it's great that you guys are able to help companies kind of achieve that more, and do it in a more efficient, meaningful way, and an automated way. So really interesting to learn about this and learn about the Neo 2W. And I think cleanliness in the warehouse is an absolute must. Actually, when I used to interview potential warehouse workers, one of the interview questions was if they like to clean or not,
Mhm.
just to make sure that they would be a good fit for that. So with this, I mean, you guys just recently came out with the Neo 2W, which is warehouse focused, right? Which we talked about. Now, what does the future of Avidbots look like in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so I mean, we're actively helping customers automate their cleaning operations in warehouses and outside of warehouses as well. But we're talking about Neo 2W, so
Hmm.
talking about warehouse and industrial spaces right now. So we'll continue to do that. and lead this transition from manual to autonomous cleaning. And obviously, being a robotics company, we are working on more robots, and I can share more about them at a future time. But we're cooking up more stuff to help automate more things for the world.
Okay, interesting, and we'll definitely be very interested to hear more about that in the future. Since I guess you can't give us any teasers right now, it sounds like, but we'll definitely be very interested to see that. And I think it's great that what you guys are doing on the cleaning side, and really appreciate that, and that you've worked on automating that part of our processes, which I think is so critical to keeping a lot of our other processes running smoothly and efficiently. So thank you for that. So if people are interested in learning more about Avidbots, how can they do that?
They can go to our website. It's www.avidbots.com. I will spell Avidbots, AVIDBOTS, avidbots.com.
Okay, great. And we'll definitely put that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well, so people can easily find it. So Faizan, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.